Pyramids. You know, the pyramids were built between about roughly 2700 BC and 1500 BC. Let come from base point. Each stone of pyramid estimated average between 2.5 to 15 ton each. And height of the King Pyramid is 481 feet high, but now it is 449.5 feet. Who and why pyramids created? Ancient Egyptians. Tombs of early Egyptian kings were bench-shaped mounds called mastabas. Around 2780 BCE, King Djoser architect, Imhotep, built the first pyramid by placing 6 mastabas, each smaller than the beneath, in a stake to form a pyramid rising in steps. Who ruled Egypt after Djoser? Djoser's successor was Sekhemkhet, who had the Nebti name Djeserti. The last king of the dynasty is Huni, who may be the same person as Khedjet or, less likely, Kaba. There are 3 remaining Horus names of known 3rd dynasty kings: Sanik, Kaba, and perhaps Khedjet. Okay. What's inside the pyramid? Several known chambers including the King's Chamber, the Queen Chamber and various other passages and chambers such as the Grand Gallery. Kings has stored plenty of gold, diamonds, jewelry and other valuable items. What Egyptians believe about afterlife. Look careful to the picture. This detail seen from the papyrus of Hunefer, c. 1375 BC, shows Hunefer's heart being weighed on the scale of Mayat against the feather of truth, by the jackal-headed Anubis. The ibis-headed Thoth, scribe of the gods, records the result. If his heart is lighter than the feather, Hunefer is allowed to pass into the afterlife. If not, he is eaten by the waiting Ammit. Vignettes such as these were a common illustration in Egyptian books of the dead. Funeral practice. There were many challenges the dead had to face before they were able to enter into the final stages of the afterlife. However, through the support of the living, the dead had access to the protection and knowledge they would need to be reborn in the netherworld. What is actually pyramid text? The pyramid texts were the first religious spells to be carved into the walls of royal ancient Egyptian pyramids. Beginning in the Old Kingdom period, these texts were used exclusively by the Egyptian pharaohs to decorate the walls of their tombs. However, Egyptian queens and high-ranking government officials soon began to use pyramid texts in their burial tombs as well. The purpose of these texts were to help the pharaoh successfully complete his journey through the afterlife, by conveying knowledge to the deceased about the paths he should take and the dangers he might face along the way. Mummification process. Mummification was a practice that the ancient Egyptians adopted because they believed that the body needed to be preserved in order for the dead to be reborn in the afterlife. Initially, Egyptians thought that like Ra, their physical bodies, or Khat, would reawaken after they completed their journey through the underworld. Once the Egyptians realized that the bodies of their dead would eventually decay, they started to see the remains of the dead as a vessel for the deceased spirit. The body was dismembered and wrapped in bandages to safeguard it. If the soul decided to return, the heart scarab was an amulet used as a grave good or jewelry worn by the deceased pharaoh. The function of the heart scarab was to bind the heart to silence while it was being weighed in the underworld to ensure that the heart did not bear false witness against the deceased. A heart scarab was often placed on their heart and bound underneath the bandages of the mummy. This was to ensure that it could not be physically removed from their person. Now the last one, judgmental of the dead. To the ancient Egyptians, the judgment of the dead was the process that allowed the Egyptian gods to judge the worthiness of the souls of the deceased. Deeply rooted in the Egyptian belief in immortality, judgment was one of the most important parts of the journey through the afterlife. As such, many variations of judgment scenes appear in the Egyptian afterlife texts. Each soul that entered the afterlife was handled individually during judgment. When the deceased had completed their journey through the underworld, they arrived at the Hall of Mayat. Here their purity would be the determining factor in whether they would be allowed to enter the kingdom of Osiris. Now coming to the blueprint of the pyramid. We have seen here entrance chamber to enter into the pyramid. Those 2 sides of air shafts designed to move air in and out to the pyramid. Next chamber is subterranean chamber. The subterranean chamber, also known as the pit. The subterranean chamber is the lowest of the 3 main chambers and has been cut out of the bedrock beneath the pyramid. The chamber is around 27 meters or 89 feet beneath the base of the pyramid. Dimensions: 16 x 27 cubits, 8.4 meters by 14.1 meters, 27.5 x 46.4 feet. Grand Gallery. The Grand Gallery is a long, narrow passage inside the Great Pyramid of Khufu, that leads up to the king's chamber. And now the main chambers, the king and queen chamber. Here, don't know where gold and other expenses stored. What's stolen and who stole in the pyramid. Now coming to the another interesting point. Yeah, many ancient Egyptian tombs were indeed filled with treasures like gold, jewelry, and other valuable items. Those things are a part of king's assets. Now the point is who and how many times stole those valuable expenses in the pyramid. First, the builders of pyramid robbed the expenses. After the years of stored gold, jewelry, diamonds. On April 23, 1797 to 1870 December, Giuseppe Ferlini was tried to rob, who was an Italian solitaire turned treasure hunter, who robbed and desecrated of Muro by defending the security. I will make the full-length video about the person Giuseppe Ferlini, why he turned solitaire to hunter. Now, some of the ways in the pyramids has been completely closed to go. I know you are looking to know about the mummies in the pyramid. I will definitely make full detailed length video about the mummies in Egypt culture about mummies. So do subscribe to know more unknown things from this world. Meet you soon.